Lumedo ye anega Bhutan Buddha do Pasati to the Zgali Sagabale Agulu Coco Lelare Tivabona Tia Atude Camaro Yona Ye Pare so much Zgali Jingin Louis Yuna Pidera Pideta Shuti Basra Shuti Shida Shida Shuti Basra Kimna Luera Nila Minevo Dashudiamo Jai Charebo Nayana never science Sarebo Tea Tea Quid about science and about Dalebo. Joy, flying, landing, child, yet is a dave. Dadu Pite time. Pity got the view. Goa, Kira got the view, Louis of Pita to Pite time. Eddie Pite Kaitama. You must be asking to get she to a she. Colego so deep. So jealous, so fully polar. Madame Soye, good lemon with you. So one with you, so they can know body she is around with you. Did each other Gigi. Total society. Burma Adi machine their owner. Lipo for the cigarette yawned. Teacher was same as the water. Tomo, subject we are living while say yawned. At the resolution, the teacher was same as the water. I don't know, so we went to the corner. So they Kaitama. So did a lip of my webship, so did a cheer of my webship. Give my child needed so there, I educate them. We have seen as I will see it all. I've been to them, I've been to the king, been to them go, be them go, Yanzari, Lekana. As I did so there, I've been built on, I've been Chukumero. Lepoma, so then we have what the relay cheated so there go up. Eddie Kaitam Haro, Lepoma lever, lower to the Aniki Bueno. So then we have only lower to the Aniki Bueno. Titadia Kawa Tara. Nalalia Pelu, a young Pelu traveler. Legally, any Tara Pelu travel, Dalim Cesaro. What the real Shini Kawatavi? The Rishi the Kaitama Ediboma Secretary Saicha, Lebomas, outside of the Regulator College, Catholici, Ediboma Saicha. So then we have one Secretary Saicha College. Ediboma Secretary, Pema Matiro. The body lives it or there. Hello, the Maria sat to the Mara. The great Panditarama Devi Melo. Len subject Muyali, my Secretary, Yone, Dola. I do some, I do love your death with Dora, so I love the Mammy. And the Sinjera Secretary, Pilla, Tanshela, it was a Manevu. Era Buddha do Padati. So te Amuya Woma. So te Chia Woma. Took she that time only so dares with a Nilita Vido. တတိထားတဲ့အတွက်အားဆက်ပြီးတော့မှတ်တဲ့အတွက်ဒီထဲမှာဝိရိယတတိသမာဓိစွမ်းအားကြီးပါသွားတယ်10မိနစ်လောက်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်စက္ကန့်ပေါင်း60နေဦးပဲ9မိနစ်အဲ့လိုမှလို့ဆိုရင်ဝိရိယတတိသမာဓိပေါင်းကိုလေ300ဖြစ်သွားပြီနေဦးပဲအဲ့ဒါတိုးလာတာပေါ့ဘာမှအတိမဖြစ်နဲ့အောင်တော့အဲ့ဒါလေးဖြစ်နေတယ်ဆိုတော့ဒါပဲကိုယ်စိတ်ကလေးကိုထိန်းနိုင်တယ်ဆိုတာပဲအဲ့ဒါလိုတွက်ဆပါတယ်ယောဂီက
A few days ago, Sayadawgyi spoke about Bhutang Bhutato Pasati. This is a very short sentence, but when we are doing this self-research of Satipatthana meditation, this sentence is very important. Observing what is as it is, the way it is. This is very simple. Observing seeing as seeing, hearing as hearing. That is, observing what is as it is. Smelling as smelling, tasting as tasting, touching as touching, knowing as knowing. Bending as bending, stretching as stretching, lifting as lifting, moving as moving, placing as placing. That's all. These are what is, and when we observe them as such, that is, observing them as they are, observing placing as placing. So if what is happening and how we are observing it are two different things, then we're missing. This is direct observation, so try making a fist. Try making a fist without paying any attention to it at all. If you don't pay attention, you don't know anything as you clench the fist. But then try clenching your fist, try clenching your hand into a fist, observing it. Put your mind on the hand as you clench it into the fist. So focusing the mind on the hand, then the mind doesn't go somewhere else. This is good. And if at the moment of clenching, the mind falls on the hand, or the mind knows the clenching, the way it's in a clenched, closed position, then the mind falls on this object, and effort is there, virya is there. Because virya is there, then intense laziness is dispelled. Intense laziness is no good. It's a quality that people who are base and low accept. So when the mind falls on the clenched fist, then there's no way for laziness to arise, and also there's no way, there's no greed for either the hand or this clenching, this fist, because sati is present. So there isn't any greed, any craving for the object when sati is present. There's no wondering about what is it or how is it or why is it. So when sati sticks to the hand or sticks to this clenching, then the mind falls collectedly on the object. The mind doesn't run anywhere. And this is samadhi, concentration. One isn't knowing the true Dhamma yet, but because the mind is reaching the hand, it's reaching this clenching fist, this is good. Some people don't even get their minds to reach the hand in this way. So this mind that is connecting with the hand, this mind is clean, and this is no insignificant thing. When we observe this clenched fist as it is, this is observing what is as it is. Bhutang Buddhato Pasati. And we observe this fist as a fist. We observe the clenching as clenching. And in this observation, there's virya, effort, sati, the observing power, samadhi, concentration. There's the energies of these three qualities. And if one observes second by second, in 1 minute there will be 60 moments of observation. So although there is no knowledge arising yet, one is controlling one's mind. And this is very good. So yogis must calculate in this way. Don't put one minute the loud deal never love babu. It don't need a majority the ball party. Majority to Pagrima pure union at the ball party. Tabuletta Edema Yadari party. Show Chura, show Chena, show Sata, show Pana, to show Ngana. Show Kara to who never wanted to cool up Parave. Yada the agent of Janani, it only Paglism. But my guy wallet come, majority of the ball. Only Pagli wallet got pure union at the ball. Why a tea, Melita? Did it just one? The one that teaches the Cataro Yadari Tola, Churichin, Nane Pane Sate Yadari Tola, Eddie Yadari, Palilu Sada Sadu cover, Cozy, Yadari. And I would have sub power to cover to Cozy the wall. She needed the wall lady. Cozy, she needed a lady. Era Ayada the Polycate to her. Every day she will be at Havana. You both might be solution, but I don't like tell it, I tell you wow. No water, Nina water, the retail water. One is what thousands of your sins are so the other material. So I purely lem to you. Did it charge a suicide video? Warm. Majority of the book, pure union at the wall, area told at a Yadari theatre. Yogi at the Shumapi solution. Porea, lady, gonna soldiers who have a soda, the Asia Sagia. Sagiza, Paro, Pondanane, Sote Amuya, Homa, Siga Yoni Bari, to get the Bawa Asimat with the Babu. The Karakaro and a Chanzali to the Shivare. Nana Uria the Maridi Abdila solution. So who Malade come. Pontanane, Sote Chia Jovio. Donazi Yoga, Donazilla, Dina's Yoga, Dinazilla. Jatazi Yoga, Jatati. Dino Neso Kangazi Yoga and Kanza. Will never yoga. Educator, she needed the Wawa cool Titi Dora. It is the Wawa Titi Corredama.
ဖြစ်ခဲ့ရှုလို့ရှိရင်တဘာဝမြင်နိုင်တယ်ဆိုတာမြတ်စွာဘုရားကဘုဒ္ဓတော်ပစ္စတိဆိုတာပေါ့လေအဲ့ဒါဟောခဲ့ပါတယ်ဒါအရှိတဘာကိုသိတော့တာမရှိတာကိုကြံဖားပြီးတော့စဉ်းစားသိတာမဟုတ်ဘူးတကယ်အရှိကိုသိတော့တာပဲဒီမှာအဲ့ဒီတကယ်အရှိကိုသိမှဒါမှကိုယ်ပဲသိလဲခေါ်တယ်အသိမှလည်းခေါ်ပါတယ်စာအုပ်ကပြထားတဲ့အသိမျိုးကတော့ဒါကိုယ်ပဲအသိမဟုတ်ပါဘူးဆရာကြီးကပြောတဲ့အသိလည်းပဲကိုယ်ပဲအသိမဟုတ်ပါဘူးအချင်းချင်းဆွေးနွေးလို့ရရှိတဲ့အသိဟာလည်းပဲဒါလည်းကိုယ်ပဲအသိမဟုတ်သေးပါဘူးတော့ဒါမှကိုယ်ပဲနဲ့အသိလက်တွေ့အသိပဲ
When we've only been practicing a few days, we can't know mind and matter yet, nama and rupa. And knowing cause and effect, their cause and effect relationship is even farther away. We can't know how these things are impermanent and so on. We can't know this type of thing directly yet. We have heard about it or read about it, but we can't know it directly after just a few days. And an analogy is that when we put a piece of food in our mouth, when we chew, right away we don't know the taste yet. We know hardness, and then we know softness. And this is knowing what is as it is. These are what is really there, hardness, softness. And in this morsel of food, there's any one of 6 tastes. There could be some sweet, sourness, bitter, salty, spicy, bland. And there will be at least one of these types of tastes in the food. And this becomes apparent. So at first, in the first chew, we know the hardness of the food. And this, as we chew, second chew, we know softness. And as we chew carefully, the taste becomes apparent. Any one of these 6 tastes may become apparent to us. And this taste is called sarasa, the individual taste. It's also called sabhava, the individual nature or own true nature. So this is an analogy for what we do when we practice. It's like eating the bit of food. When we observe what is at the moment, for example, at the moment of, if we're observing the fist, at first it's just like putting a lump of food in our mouth. We just know this lump. And if we don't pay attention, we won't know the qualities of what we're eating. We won't know if we speak when we eat, for example. We won't know because our attention is not on the food. So similarly, as we chew our food, we know qualities of hardness and softness. Those are the first things that become apparent. And in the case of clenching the fist, when we put our mind on this and we know the clenching, we don't yet know true nature. We're aware of the form or the way the shape of the fist, or we're aware of the manner that it's clenching. So as one observes, from time to time, one sees the true nature in a gross way, in a very coarse way. So as one continues to observe the clenched fist, putting one's mind on it, one goes beyond the form. As one goes beyond the form, the shape of the fist, one goes beyond the manner, the position that the fist is in of clenching, and one comes to feel qualities like stiffness, or tension, or tightness. And when there's extreme tightness, then it feels bad. So then we're aware of Vedana, the feeling. So this is knowing one of the many types of true nature that occur in the moment of clenching the fist. If we observe at the moment of arising, we will see the true nature. That's one of the to see true nature, one must observe at the moment of arising, and then it will become apparent. So this is what is being said when the Buddha said, Bhutang Bhutato Pasati. To see what is as it is, one has to observe it at the moment of arising. When one sees things, what is really there as it is, then this is one's own knowledge that one gains. What we read in books is not our own knowledge. What we hear other people talk about, what we hear the teacher say, is not our own knowledge. Only experiential knowledge is our own.
Yogiya sabayne goga di tumyo nale thane yabare. Tumyo soraga ti santana pouha ni agara achinya achine tum sabawa adidi shi nide tabawa Kuzi tabawa dalili nale thaya bare pouha muya tabawa tumsha nale si sorabo Edi tumyo re santana khore pouha soraga lu ane tha le ane tha chirao ane tha Bao lo tu lo chi bwa lo chi chao lo le chao ane tha le di se ane tha gao ane tha sa di ane tha le di adi shi bare Era lego Pali lo santana khore Pongpan santana lo di lo le kho bare pongpan santana Era le ga takaraga kwe lai takaraga san laiဒီလိုရှိရပါတယ်တခါတခါငုံလိုက်တခါနောက်လှန်လိုက်တခါကရှေ့ဆိုင်လိုက်ဘေးရိမ့်လိုက်ဆိုတာပေါ့လေတွားလိုက်ရက်လိုက်ထိုင်လိုက်အေးရပေါ်လဲလိုက်လက်ချီကြောက်ကြီးလေးကိုယ်လိုက်ဆန်းလိုက်စောင်းလိုက်ငဲလိုက်ကြွလိုက်လှန်လိုက်ချလိုက်ဆိုမြတ်တုကတာမျိုးလုံးပိဋကဘုနာအစဒါတွေကအာကာရခေါ်တယ်အခြေအရာတွေအခြေအနေတွေပေါ့ပုံသဏ္ဍာန်ကြီးတွေအခြေအနေအမျိုးမျိုးပြောင်းနေအမျိုးမျိုးဖြစ်နေတာပေါ့အမျိုးမျိုးထင်ရှားနေတာပေါ့ဖြစ်တာတော့မဟုတ်ပါဘူးတဘာဝဆိုတာကအဲ့ဒီလိုလှုပ်ရှားတဲ့မှာပါနေတဲ့နာနဲ့ရုပ်သဘောရုပ်နဲ့နာသဘောတွေပေါ့အဲ့ဒါသဘာဝလို့ခေါ်ပါတယ်အခုဓမ္မကကိုယ်လေ့လာတဲ့ဆက်ရဆက်စော်လေးလေ့လာတဲ့အခါမှာအဲ့ဒါလို့အချင်းရဇုံထဲမှာရှိနေတဲ့ဟာတွေဟာဘာတွေလဲဆိုတာအမှန်တရားတွေတည်တော့အောင်လှုပ်ရှားတဲ့တတိပြုရပါတယ်ဆိုကြပါစို့မမရဲရကနေပြီးတော့ထိုင်ချတော့မှအပြုထိုင်တဲ့ပုံကြီးလည်းရှိတယ်ကိုယ်ပုံသဏ္ဍာန်ကြီးလည်းရှိတယ်ထိုင်တဲ့ကမှဒီရှိတည်ခြင်းပေါ့လေအာကာရခေါ်တဲ့အမူအရာလည်းရှိတယ်အများအမြင်တော့ပုံသဏ္ဍာန်ကြီးလည်းထင်ရှားနေတယ်ထိုင်ချတဲ့အချင်းအရာလည်းထင်ရှားတယ်ဒါတော့သူကိုဒီနားလေပါကလေးအစနားလေပါလေပြောတာလို့ရှိရင်သို့သောအဒီခိုက်တော့မှာတကယ်ရှိအဟုတ်ရှိနေတဲ့သဘာဝတွေတော့မတိကျသူများပါတယ်။ရာဂိုင်းလုံးတစ်တောင်မှမရှိတော့ပါပဲ။အဲလိုဖြစ်နေပါတယ်။ ထိုင်တော့မဲ့ပြုမှာထိုင်ခြင်းတဲ့စိတ်တွေစိတ်ကဖြစ်မယ်လေဒါစိတ်တွေပဲနန္တရားတွေပဲခေါ်တယ်ထိုင်ခြင်းတဲ့စိတ်ကအာကုန်းလာလို့ထိုင်ပြီးဟဲ့လို့ဆုံးဖြတ်ချက်ချလိုက်တာနဲ့ပဲတည်ရှင်းတည်ချင်းပေါ့လေထိုင်ချတာထိုင်နေတာထိုင်နေတာပေါ့လေအောက်ကိုအီးပြီးတော့လေးပြီးတော့တောင့်ပြီးတော့ရွေရှာဆိုတာလက်တွေ့ထိုင်ကြည့်ပေါ့သိလိမ့်မယ်ပြုံးနဲ့ထိုင်ရှားလို့ရှိရင်တော့ပြုံးနဲ့မသိပါဘူးတေးချာတည်ချင်းထိုင်တာဆုစိတ်မှကြည့်ဒီတော့ထိုင်စေခဏမှာထိုင်ကျင်တဲ့နန္တရားအစစ်စစ်နေထိုင်တဲ့ရုပ်အစစ်စစ်နေပေါ့လေအခုမိအောင်နေလားနေတာဆံရခလုတ်နှိပ်ထားတော့အဲ့ဒီကနေတကြွကနေပြီးတော့ပြက်စီအားကြီးစီးဆင်းလာတာဒီမှာမိလာလင်းလာထိုင်နေတဲ့စိတ်အစစ်စစ်ဆံရခလုတ်နှိပ်လိုက်တဲ့ခါကျတော့အဲ့ဒီစိတ်ကြောင့်ဖြစ်တဲ့အားတွေပေါ့လေထိုင်မဲ့နေရာမှာလွတ်ရှားဖြစ်ကုန်တာတောင်းတင်းနေတာလျှက်စီအားနဲ့တိတ်တူတယ်သူကဒီမှာမီးလင်းလာတယ်လို့ပဲအမူအရာလေးတွေဖြစ်လာတာပဲထိုင်တဲ့အမူအရာလေးတွေဟောလျှက်စီအားတကြွနေပြီးတော့ရှောက်လာလို့မိပွင့်လာရောက်ပြီဆိုရင်လင်းကလေးဖြစ်သွားတာပဲအဲ့ဒီဓာတ်တွေလာနေသေးအဲ့ဒီမိရပွင့်နေတာပဲဒီလိုပဲထိုင်ရင်တဲ့စိတ်အစစ်စစ်မရှိသေးရဲ့ထိုင်ရုပ်မဖြစ်သေးတောင်းတာတင်းတာမဖြစ်သေးဒီတော့ထိုင်ရင်တဲ့စိတ်အစစ်စစ်နန္တရားဖြစ်လာပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ထိုင်တဲ့ရုပ်အစစ်စစ်နေလျှက်စစ်မိတွေပွင့်တယ်လို့ဖြစ်လာတာဒီတော့လျှက်စစ်မှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တကြိုးထဲမှာရှောက်နေတဲ့ဓာတ်အားနဲ့လင်းအားနှစ်ခုပြန်ပြီးတော့ဖြစ်နေတယ်လို့စိတ်မှလည်းပဲထိုင်ချတဲ့ခိုက်တာမှာထိုင်ရင်လည်းစိတ်အစဉ်စဉ်အားနဲ့ထိုင်တဲ့ရုပ်အစဉ်တောင်းတင်းနေပါလေဖြစ်နေတာဒါထင်ရှားတယ်အဲ့ဒါတွေကိုသိရအောင်ဆိုပြီးတော့တည်ရှိထိုင်ချတာအဲ့လိုမှတ်တဲ့အခါမှာမအားမတန်သေးရင်ထိုင်တဲ့ပုံပေါ်မှာပဲစိတ်ကရောက်နေသေးတာပဲအဲတခါမှလည်းထိုင်ချတဲ့အမူအရာလေးအာကာရလေးပေါ်မှာတည်ရှိနေဒီရောက်နေတာတခြားတော့စိတ်မတော်ရင်တော်သေးတာပဲတခြားတော့စိတ်မတော်ဘဲနဲ့တန်ရှင်းတဲ့စိတ်အစဉ်လေးတွေအားပြည့်လာပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ထိုင်တယ်လို့မှတ်လိုက်လို့ရှိရင်တခါထိုင်နေတဲ့စိတ်ပေါ်ရောက်သွားနန္တရားလေးတွေတည်တယ်သူတော်နန္တရားတော့အရင်စကြည့်ခဲ့ပါလေထိုင်တဲ့ရုပ်ပုံမှာရောက်သွားတောင်းတဲ့ပုံရောက်သွားတောင်းတာတင်းတဲ့ပုံရောက်သွားတင်းတာလေးတဲ့ပုံမှာရောက်သွားလေးတာကိုကဟန်ကျက်မညီလို့နည်းနည်းလေးနေရထိုင်ရတာမကောင်းတဲ့စီရောက်သွားလို့ရှိရင်ဟောခံစားမှုဝေဒနာတွေအဲ့ဒီခိုက်တမှာဖြစ်နေတဲ့သဘာဝတစ်ခုကိုမှတော့စိတ်ကတော့ရောက်သွားမှာပဲအဲ့ဒီစီစိုက်ကြသွားမှာပဲအဲ့ဒါသဘာဝသိတာပဲပုံဟာမူရာသဘာဝသုံးချနားလည်းစီရဲ့ခန္ဓာကိုယ်ကြီးအနေထားကပုံခေါ်ပါတယ်အနေထားတဖြည်းဖြည်းထိုင်ချတာကအာဃာရအချင်းရာခေါ်ပါတယ်အဲ့ဒီအချင်းရာလေးပေါ်တဲ့ခိုက်တာမှာအခုလိုတတိပဌာန်နေတဲ့ထိုင်တယ်လို့မှတ်တာကမအားရတန်းလာပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်အဲ့ဒီခိုက်တာမှာရှိနေတဲ့သဘာဝကိုသိတာအဲ့ဒါသဘာဝသိရတဲ့သဘာဝသိရတာဟာသဘာဝခေါ်ပါတယ်ရှုမှတ်တာအဲ့ဒီသဘာဝကိုသိဖို့ရှုမှတ်ရတာထိုင်ချတဲ့အခါဒါပဲဒါလေးသဘောပေါက်သွားလို့ရှိရင်ဉာဏ်နဲ့အမူအရာတွေလည်းယောဂီတွေကကိုယ့်အကူအချက်ထွင်ပြီးတော့သိလို့ရပါတယ်
Yogis at the start of practice have three ways of understanding, and the first is santana, or form, and the second is akara, that's manner or position, and the third is sabhava, which is the various kinds of individual nature. Santana is the form or shape. That's like, for example, the leg, the arm, the torso, the neck, all these parts of the body. This is seeing on that level, seeing the shape of the leg, shape of the arm, shape of the head, and so on. This is seeing the form. And sometimes, these parts of our body, they bend, they stretch. There's leaning to one side. There's going, standing, sitting, lying, lifting, moving, placing, blinking, opening and closing the eyes. So these are all the different types of akara, or manner or position that the various parts of the body can be in. So this is the second level of knowing. And then sabhava. Within that movement of leaning, bending, stretching, and so on, within that movement, there's mind and matter, which are there, nama and rupa, which are there. And as we do self-research, as we are now, we have to apply sati in order to see the true nature that is in us. An example is observation of what happens when we go from a standing posture to sitting down. So the body standing, this is the body. The body as a whole is the form. Standing up is the manner. And as we sit down bit by bit, we can understand on a gross level that the changes that happen. The body goes from standing to sitting. Children can understand the difference between standing and sitting, and how it changes. But to know what is really there, most people don't know what is really involved in the act of going from standing to sitting. Not even 1% of people know. In order to sit down, there's the intention to sit down. And when that intention becomes strong, then one decides to sit. And from that point, sitting down happens. There's a series of intentions to sit and a series of sitting down bit by bit. The body becomes soft, heavy, stiff, and bit by bit, it goes from standing to sitting. So if we do it quickly, go from standing to sitting down quickly, we won't know anything about what happens. But if we do it carefully, inch by inch, observing inch by inch, bit by bit, and focusing our mind on the body at the time of sitting down, we'll see that there is a series of intentions to sit and a series of sitting down. So it's like turning on the light switch. When one turns on the light switch, electricity flows and the light turns on. So when we turn on the relevant switch, then the energy created by the mind causes movement. That's using the analogy when intention causes sitting down. It's like the relevant switch, turning it on, and then there's energy produced that causes movement. So this, how movement is caused, is a bit like the way electricity flows. When electricity flows, the light goes on. And in the same way, when there's the intention to sit down occurring in a series, then sitting down will happen. If there's no intention happening one by one, then there will be no sitting down. No sitting down will happen. So the sitting down happens in the same way as the light going on as a result of turning on the switch. So when the light goes on, there are two things involved. The electricity flows and then the light goes on. And in the process of sitting down, there's the intention and then the physical sitting down. These two things. So try observing in the moment of sitting down. Try to observe it in a careful way, second by second. If one doesn't have enough mental energy yet, then the mind will fall on the body. One will know the shape of the body, or one will know the position that it is in, of sitting down gradually. But even though one doesn't know further than that, this is still good because the mind is not running anywhere. So this is good. And as one focuses carefully, sometimes it will become apparent that there's stiffness, or that there's tension, or that there's a heaviness. And when one feels off balance and has to adjust, has to move one's arms because the body's become out of balance, one feels uncomfortable. This is Vedana. So at the start of the practice, it's not easy to know the mind, the intention to sit down. But if one continues to practice, then one will come to see the intention too. When the body sits down, sitting down is manner. It's the position that the body is in. And as one's mental energy becomes strong, one will know the true nature that happens in that moment. Our observation is in order to see this true nature. And once you understand this concept, you know you can understand what is happening in every other movement that we make.
Hello, Taisha Zekalama, Shingli Mavali. Taine Muya. Edible Masavido. Teaching, dilemma. Who are in a dear man, Kai Paolo, you as you let her. On a Quinjapio. Taise Kalama, Adi Muya Levoma. Sickly cut off. Would be Asayava. No Chazashia, take your Chalayava, Sailing Nicolomia. Is a Lolomia. It is your what? Temu Polarane, Secretary of Tenet and the Diatacayo, the Rivicata would be Asayama. As I let it duet. See, I. Pyongyang appear. The Agudo where it again, Lord. The Awurian SADHU appear again, Lord. They also, when you appear, also will change holiday. ပေါ်လာတဲ့အရေးနဲ့ထိုင်တဲ့အရေးနဲ့တရားရှိမှတ်တဲ့စိတ်နဲ့ခွင်ကြပြအောင်တအောင်ချိန်ထားတော့ရွယ်စုထားတော့တခြားတော့လည်းစိတ်မသွားတော့ကာမပုံသားပြီးပေါ့လေကောင်းတာတွေမြင်နေတာကြားကျင်တာနားကျင်တာဒါတွေလည်းမရှိတော့အဲ့ဒါတွေအစစ်ပြတ်သွားတယ်စဉ်းစားဖို့အဲ့ဒါတွေဟောဒီဘုံမှာတတိလေးကတ်သွားတယ်ကတ်သွားတဲ့စိတ်စဉ်ဉာဏ်ဉာဏ်မှုမူရအောင်ကာဝယ်ထားလိုက်တယ်ဆောက်ရှောက်ထားလိုက်တယ်သူပိတ်ဆို့ထားလိုက်တယ်ဘယ်မှမသွားတော့စိတ်ဟာတော့ကပ်ပြီးတော့စိုက်ကြနေတော့စိုက်ကြနေလို့ရှိရင်ခုနကာမဂုဏ်အယုန်တွေကိုစဉ်းစားတာလည်းပဲရှိတော့မလားငြိမ့်ကြနေတာတော့ဝှက်ကြနေတာစိတ်ကိုစူးစီးထားတာပဲဒီမှာပြင်းလို့မထွက်ကပ်လျက်တည်သေးဆိုတော့စိတ်ပြန့်ပြီးတော့ထွက်သွားတာမရှိဘူးကပ်ပြီးတော့တည်နေတယ်တရားရှိတဲ့တရားတွေကိုလည်းပဲဒီပေါ်မှာနတ်တရားတွေကိုလည်းပဲစူးစီးပေးထားလိုက်တယ်ဘယ်လောက်ကောင်းသလဲဒီမှာနောက်တစ်စက္ကန့်မှလည်းအဒီတိုင်းပဲနောက်တစ်စက္ကန့်လည်းဒီတိုင်းပဲဒီဝိရိယတတိသမารိတွေရှင်းသားကတိပါလာလို့ရှိရင်အဲ့ဒါလိုအင်အားစုပါတဲ့စိတ်အစဉ်စဉ်းစားကြည့်ပေါ့ညီပတ်တဲ့စိတ်လားတန်ရှင်းတဲ့စိတ်လားဆိုတာပေါ့လေတန်ရှင်းတဲ့စိတ်ထဲမှာပါတယ်ဒါသတိပဋ္ဌာန်နည်းပဲ10မိနစ်မှာအဲ့ဒီအင်အားစုတွေပါလို့စိတ်တန်ရှင်းသွားလို့ရှိရင်အချိန်ပေါင်း60တန်ရှင်းသွားတယ်9မိနစ်ဆို300တနာရီဆို3600အဲ့ဒါသမာဓိခန္ဓာဆိုတာဒါပြောတာပဲဝိရိယတတိသမာဓိတဲ့အုပ်စုအဲ့ဒါပွားရမယ့်ဟာတွေပဲမဖြစ်သေးရင်ပေါ်အောင်စရမယ်ဥပ္ပါဒနာဆိုတာပါလေဥပ္ပါဒနာအစဖော်ပြရမယ်အစဖော်ထားတဲ့ဟာကိုအဲ့ဒီအစလေးဟာပျောက်မသွားပဲနဲ့တစားနှစ်ဆစသည်အစပေါင်းများစွာတိုးပေါက်လို့ရတယ်အဲ့ဒါဝတ္တနာခေါ်တယ်ဖြစ်ပွားဆိုတာဒါပြောတာပဲအဲ့ဒီဟာတွေကပွားလာလို့ရှိရင်များလာတော့ဘောအဲ့ဒီအားတွေများလာလို့ရှိရင်ခိုင်ခန့်လာတာပဲဟာပဲအဲ့ဒါတွေများအောင်လို့သူတို့များလာပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တော့ဘယ်အတိညာဖြစ်လာတာပဲအောင်လည်းမစိတ်နဲ့တဲ့ပြီးဒီပုံမှာစိုက်ကြတဲ့အခိုက်တော့တောင်းတာလေးကိုစိုက်ကြတော့တောင်းတာသည်တင်းတာလေးကိုစိုက်တော့တင်းတာသည်လေးတာကိုစိုက်ကြတော့လေးတာသည်အောင်းတာကိုစိုက်ကြတော့အောင်းတာသည်ဆိုတော့ဗောလေဒါသိလာတော့ဒီပုံမှာစိုက်ကြတော့တယ်သိလာတော့တဲ့စိုက်ကြတော့သိလာတော့ပဲဟာပဲအတိလည်းဖြစ်တော့ပဲဒီမှာအဲ့တော့ဒီထဲမှာဓာတ်ခွဲကြည့်လိုက်လို့ရှိရင်တေချီထိုင်ထားတဲ့အမူအရာပုံမှာအရေးကြပုံမှာအဲ့ဒီစိတ်ရောက်တော့အာစိတ်တဝိရိယအဲ့ဒီမှာထိုင်တဲ့အရေးပုံမှာစိတ်ကလေးကတ်တော်တာတတိအဲ့ဒီမှာစိုက်ကြတော့တမာရီအဲ့ဒီအရေးတဲ့ခိုက်တယ်လေးမှာတောင်းတာတင်တာတစ်ခုနဲ့တဲ့သွားတာဒါဝိတက်သမသင်္ကပ္ပခေါ်တယ်အဲ့ဒါလေးကြည့်တော်တာကပညာတဲ့ဆိုရှေ့ပိုင်း၃ပိုင်းကသမာဓိခန္ဓာခေါ်ပြီးတော့နောက်ပိုင်းတစ်ပိုင်းကပညာခန္ဓာပညာလို့ခေါ်ပါတယ်သမာဓိနဲ့ပညာဖြစ်သွားတဲ့ဓမ္မအင်္ဂါနဲ့တွေ့မယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်အင်္ဂါအစိတ်ပိုင်း၅ခုဖြစ်သွားတဲ့ဓမ္မအဲ့ဒါလေး
When sitting down like that, observing the sitting down, one puts one's mind on the position of sitting down, on that act of sitting down, inch by inch. And one aims the mind so that the mind is focused accurately. One also applies effort so that the mind gets there to the sitting down. The mind has to be not sluggish or slow. The mind must be active. As soon as the sitting down happens, one has to apply effort. And in doing that, then laziness, the unwholesome quality of laziness, is no longer present because effort, virya, has taken its place, so that laziness is removed. And the aim makes the mind focus accurately on the object. So when one does this, the mind doesn't go elsewhere. Because we live in a world of the senses, the human tendency is to want to see good things, hear good things, smell, taste, touch good things. But this type of thought can't enter our mind stream because one is protecting one's mind with sati. The mind then doesn't run elsewhere. It falls collectedly on the object. So there's no thinking about sense objects. This tendency is suppressed. And the mind doesn't scatter. It sticks to the object. The mind is collected. Each second of the time, there's virya, sati, and samadhi present, effort, observation, and concentration. So the mind having these qualities is clean. And if one is observing like this, with these three qualities, effort, sati, and samadhi, every second, then in 1 minute there will be 60 moments of observation. And in 5 minutes, 120, and in 360, I'm sorry, my math is bad, and in 1 hour there will be 3,600. So these three qualities are known as the samadhi khanda, the samadhi group, concentration group, the virya, sati, and samadhi. This is to be developed. If it's not there, then we have to create it. This is called upadana, to give a start to what is not yet there. And then, so that we don't lose that which has been started, we have to enlarge it. This is called vedana. And we enlarge, we multiply this clean mind by repeated observation. And this repeated observation makes the mind firm. So when we do this a lot, then eventually knowledge arises. So the mind falls collectedly on the object, and sometimes one knows stiffness, the mind falls on stiffness. When the mind falls on tension, one knows tension. When the mind falls on heaviness, one knows heaviness, and so on. So when the mind whatever the mind falls on, we know it accordingly. And if we analyze what is happening in this moment, there's application of effort to get the mind to the object at the moment it is happening. Sati is sticking to the object, and because of that, the mind falls collectedly on the object. This is samadhi. There's accurate aim, so that our mind is focused exactly. The mind has the object exactly in focus. And this is vitakka, this quality of accurate aim. And then there's knowing, which is panya. So the first three of these factors, virya, sati, and samadhi, this is the samadhi khanda, the concentration group. And the second two factors, vitakka, or accurate aim, and panya, knowledge, these are the panya khanda, or the wisdom group. So these are 5 factors that are present in the moment of observation.
Di lo mamaka ne pi do thai cha se kala ma ချင်းပေါ့လေသူအရေးလိုက်အခုပြောခဲ့တဲ့ဤတိုင်းအားဆိုင်မှုဆွေးမြဲတဲ့တတိစုစည်းမှုသမာဓိခန္ဓာပါတော့တယ်ကျွယ်စုမှုဥတည်လည်းပါတယ်ဇန်သဘောလည်းပါတယ်စာထဲမှာတော့ဇန်သဘောတော့ထည့်မပြောဘူးဒါပေမဲ့လို့အဲ့ဒါဒီပါနေတယ်အတိလည်းဖြစ်တော့တယ်ဒီလိုဖြစ်လာရတာဟာအခုလိုထိုင်စေကာလမှာအခုလိုနီးနေဒီချင်းမှတ်တယ်ရဲ့ဒီအားတွေလည်းဝင်လာပြီးတော့စိတ်တွေစင်ကြယ်တယ်ဆိုတာပေါ့လေဇာဘူးနာဝရှိထားတာပါဠိလိုတုတ္တခေါ်ပါတယ်ဇာဘူးနာဝအဲ့ဒီဇာဘူးနာဝလေးနဲ့တကယ်ဝိရိယထားပြီးတော့ယုံကြည်နဲ့ပေါ့လေဒီလိုအမှတ်ကလေးတွေဖြစ်လို့တဲ့ဆန္ဒနဲ့ပေါ့လေသုံးမို့ခုနအညီကျေးတွေကင်းလို့တဲ့ဆန္ဒနဲ့သုံးမို့အဲ့ဒီအခိုက်အတန့်မှာရှိနေတဲ့သဘာဝတွေကိုသိလို့တဲ့ဆန္ဒနဲ့ပြထားပြီးတော့ခုနဝိရိယတတိသမารိဒါဒီပြည့်စုံလို့ရှိရင်အတိဖြစ်လာတာပဲဒါပဲအခုလိုယူသေးတဲ့စိတ်ဆက်ဆက်မှတ်ရမယ်ဆိုတဲ့အတိစိတ်ဓာတ်ကသိအရေးကြီးပါတယ်မှတ်ရင်တန်ရှင်းတယ်ဆိုရဲပါလေဒါလေးလေးဇာဘူးနာဝရှိပြီးတော့ယုံကြည်ရပါတယ်ရလို့တဲ့ဆန္ဒလည်းရှိရပါတယ်မလို့ချင်းလိုချင်းဆိုလို့လုပ်လို့မရပါဘူးလိုချင်းနဲ့လုပ်ရတယ်အဲ့ဒါရှိပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ထိုင်စေကာလမှာဒီချင်းခုနစောစောပိုင်းကပြောခဲ့တဲ့စိတ်ပိုင်းဆိုင်ရာဆွမ်းအားတွေပေါ့လေမဆုံးရှုံးတော့ကိုယ်ဖြစ်လာတာပဲဒါပဲငါကလည်းပဲဒီလိုအသေးစိတ်မှတ်ရတယ်ဆိုတော့နီးမသိပြီမဲ့လို့ပေါ်ဆဆရှိပြီးတော့ယုံကြည်လည်းမရှိစန္ဒာလည်းမရှိဘူးဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တော့ဝိရိယတတိသမารိယလည်းမလာဘူးဆိုဒီထိုင်ရကာလမှာနာနဲ့ရုပ်တွဲဖြစ်နေတော့လည်းမသိဘူးဒီလိုဖြစ်သွားနိုင်ပါတယ်ဒီမှာအခုတချို့ယောဂီတွေပေါ်ဆဆတွေးနေပါတယ်တခါတခါဟိုတက်လာလို့ရှိတောင်ကြည့်မြောက်ကြည့်နေဟိုကြည့်ဒီကြည့်နေဝင်လာတဲ့အခါမှာလည်းပဲကိုယ်အမလေးနဲ့ကိုယ်နေရမယ်ဆိုဟိုကြည့်ဒီကြည့်နေဆိုတဲ့မတ်ဒီအကုန်လုံးလုတ်ကုန်တာပဲဒီမှာဒါပဲအဲ့တော့ယူသေးသေးလှုပ်လို့ရှိရင်အခုပြောခဲ့တဲ့ဟာတွေသမာဓိခန္ဓာသမာဓိဆိုင်ရာတရားတွေပညာခန္ဓာပညာဆိုင်ရာတရားတွေအဲ့ဒါတွေကိုယ်မှရနေမှာပဲယုံကြည်လည်းမရှိပေါ်ဆဆလူကြီးစိတ်လည်းမရှိဘူးဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တော့အဲ့ဒါတွေဆုံးရှုံးတာပဲဒါပဲ10မိနစ်ပေါ်ဆလို့တဲ့10မိနစ်ဆုံးရှုံးတော့တယ်9မိနစ်ပေါ်ဆလို့လို့ရှိရင်9မိနစ်ဆုံးရှုံးတော့တယ်အဲ့ဒီလိုဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တရားထုတော်နဲ့မရပါဘူးသူကတော့ဒီအလုပ်ဟာအမှန်တန်ဖိုးရှိတဲ့အလုပ်ဖြစ်တော့အလုပ်ရဲ့အကျိုးသိနာလည်းပြီးတော့မြန်တို့တန်ဖိုးထားတဲ့စိတ်ရှိပြီးတော့ယူသေးပြီဆိုရင်စိတ်ဆက်ပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တခဏလေးနဲ့ပဲတရားထုရပါတယ်
When we go from standing to sitting down, bit by bit observing as it happens, then there's effort, sati and samadhi. The samadhi kanda is present. There's aiming, which is a jhanic factor, and knowledge also occurs. These happen because one observes moment by moment, one observes the act of sitting down as it is happening, bit by bit. So we have heard about this, and when we really apply effort with the faith in the benefits, with a desire to observe, or with the desire to be free of defilements, or with the desire to know true nature, then when effort, sati, and samadhi are complete, knowledge will arise. So, if one observes respectfully, then the mind will become clean. So this is something that we've heard about. We have to have the desire for this to happen. We should have chanda for this to happen. We can't not want this. And if we do, then as we sit down, moment by moment, we will be gaining energy. We will be gaining mental energy. We won't be losing energy. We'll be developing mental energies as we observe the sitting down process. So if one doesn't have faith, or one doesn't have any desire to gain the benefits, then there won't be any effort to do the practice, and then one won't know. So Sayadawgyi sees some yogis who are careless, who don't respect the practice. They look here and there. Doing the practice, one is supposed to keep to oneself. One is supposed to observe one's own phenomena. But these yogis look here and there, all over the place. So if one applies oneself, one will gain the samadhi kanda. One will develop that. One will gain the panya kanda, the wisdom group. This is what one gains if one works, applies oneself respectfully. But if one has no faith and no chanda, no desire to gain the results of the practice, then every moment one is losing out on the chance to get these things, these 5 factors. So in 1 minute of carelessness, that's the 1 minute of loss. And in 5 minutes, there will be 5 minutes of loss. So this work is incredibly valuable. And if one reflects on how valuable it is, then one will work at it, and one will get the Dhamma in a short time.
Dear Panditarama, see a man here who loves a penny hour. Matimbu, Timbu Pillar. She can live up at the other Kalatilla. Good Peter lady. The she was she ten dealer. A digital Mahutu, Guni Pare, Uri at the Dito Marie Pare. Pero, I don't imagine a tebu Pare. Uri at the Dito Maria to Marie Kanda. To Marie take her to recover. I don't imagine a tebu, a Quenja Javi, a tea, Pina Kanda, Pina take her to cover. तुम्हारी देखा पिया देखा तो करे तो मछली तो है तुम्हारी देखा गा सीधे मछली पड़ी उठाना के लिए जारे फिक्र में पे इरादे कागज थारे देखा गा फिर लालू चाहिए पैसा बचा जो हम फिर हम चोरी कागज लोगों फिर लाए को मी मलाउया चोरी कागज लाए नहीं था नहीं तो हम लोगों No, I'm never going to tell you to home holiday dealer. Shin Dora will carry. Making Gava to the body. Ria making Pima. She bring up Pubaga make order. Ria make Gava. Era Pola again. Tila making a Juno Janine Cholo, shouting at the border. Shumani the Kaita Marumashiva. Tavamaru Serenati La Lydia Pani Samavacha, Mazojoje, Samagamada, Mazoloje, Samajiva, Mazo de Mujin Saravali. Samawaja Sura, Piosa, Simogan, Jura, or little man. Chichi is Gajora. He did it anyway, Pura. The Joshi is a Gajora. The Magamada, Tamuma Shauna. Pirog Mitsara Kamatamama Shauna. Everybody. Amani Sasara Panadibada Harina Tana Kamini Sasara, what did you have to see? Egoya Shauna. The Tamas you are left in the valley. Tilasaya Meganega, a Lolo Serenane Pivita Venera. Julo Jana Julo. Shouting at the Roma Pavi Melu, Serena Didaria Panida, a Serena Tila, Tongune, Shuraima Pani, Recona, Tomarimaki, Pinamaki, Ponsale de Cajaro, Megi Shepachetore, Tomo Polerosi, Tila Maki, Tomarimaki, Pinamaki. Tindekan to Letolarici, Tilatica, Maritica, Pinateca. Tilateca, Longukilita, Erario, Penira, Tamaritica, and Sedema Pinagilita, Kawenira, Pinateca, and Kilita, Mupia, Lonera. Other Chinese sign Kubo, Senza Jibo. Nigeri came with a Tanshenira. You pour it, I go, Palu, Pedro Titi to have a solution and I'll go, I'm not 12. Ora Mamu, you the Molofu solution at a social order. At the lot of the change, I'm about it. You take a lot of chance, Janet take on the bar of social order. So, Diaria on la video, I took a poco de ha. Dihama Yaom Luna Wu Soloshi and a Cheko Nashira. Yashi Chele, Joshi son at Shadabuya, Dwe. Di Loha, Yamna Tajishi, a low better body. Tambo Tabido, you did see Sasa Mayamana, Lujabo. H. Chana Tavi, Janet in Lujabo. Di Luga to a Lushanema, look Pita Vido, our Pilla. Kamyalu, Kamya Sega, no name, but he ordered my charge one of it. Kaya Talushi, but he did down the river. Joey let it die. Near Piata Kare, Pore, I have money. Say, save ma, but he ordered my charge one of the body. One of them. Charging a piece of Nima, Dhamma is sent over me are like only. Read the very lucky load. Yeah. Say, my charging away of Susan and Java, say, look, living at the doing it in they are something like
When we observe what is as it is, then we are able to dispel ignorance. Ignorance doesn't know the true Dhamma when it is happening. But our observation dispels this ignorance. And at this moment, there's knowledge. And this knowledge doesn't occur alone. It occurs together with virya, sati, and samadhi, effort, observation, and concentration. So in this, there is the samadhi kanda. And there's also the factor of aiming. Aiming together with knowledge makes up the panya kanda, the wisdom group. Or another way of looking at it is that there is the training of samadhi present and the training of panya. The training of samadhi, samadhi sekha, overcomes the obsessive defilements, the pariyotana kilesas. Or if these things, if the samadhi will If those happen to arise, then one quickly can dispel them. For the most part, one can keep them suppressed. This is like fire prevention. When one wants to prevent fire, one takes action in advance, but if the fire breaks out, one is prepared to put it out quickly. And the samadhi khanda is like that with regard to the obsessive defilements. So when the mind falls collectedly on the object and accurately on the object, then there are two more factors that are involved, this accurate aim together with knowledge. So in all, there's 5 factors of the path that are present at this time, and this is called the forerunner path, the 5-fold path. At this time, while we're practicing, there's not any way in which we're going to transgress. There's no opportunity for us to break our sila. But we have the intention to act well, to not commit wrong. We have the intention to speak in a friendly way, to speak what is true, to speak what is beneficial. And we have the intention to avoid killing, avoid adultery, avoid stealing, whether it's in normal life or in any type of livelihood. We have the intention to keep our sila pure. So although we're not in a situation where we are actively faced with the potential to transgress, we have the intention to keep sila. So therefore, the factors of the sila portion of the path are present. So every moment of observation, our sila is also complete. And this means that there are all factors of the Eightfold Path involved in a moment of observation. In other words, there are the 3 groups. The sila group, the samadhi group, and the panya group. Or one can think of it in terms of training. In the moment of observation, the training of sila, of samadhi, and of panya are all involved. The training of sila overcomes the gross transgressions, gross defilements, the ones that take place on physical and verbal level. The samadhi khanda eliminates the obsessive defilements, and the panya khanda uproots the latent defilements, the ones that lie dormant. So when one reaches this situation, one should understand that in every moment of observation, one is getting a profit on one's existence. And if, on the other hand, in every moment one doesn't observe what is happening, the arising object, then one is losing this. So people who came here to get this benefit, if one doesn't work, then work respectfully to gain the benefits of the practice, then one is losing. So one has to just value this time. This time is very valuable, and valuing the time here, work respectfully. While one is applying oneself to observing the arising object, to the practice, this creates energy. It's like driving a car. We have to drive our car in order to keep the battery charged. If we don't drive the car in time, the battery will run down and it will die. So, like this, we have to also keep our battery charged by observing the object every moment. So Sayadawgyi urges us all to keep our batteries charged by observing the object every moment of the time. That's all for today. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.